Now, let's focus on the highly anticipated battle between Terence "Bud" Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, which has the boxing world in a frenzy. Imagine if on March 26, 2025, the rivalry between these two heavyweights has reached a breaking point, escalating from the ring to a furious altercation at the airport just today. What started out as a polished prelude to a September blockbuster has turned into something unfiltered, intimate, and really explosive. Crawford is stepping up, way up, to take on Canelo, the Mexican superstar who has been a wrecking ball across numerous weight classes. Crawford is the slick, unrelenting welterweight king who has defeated everyone in his path. Everyone is wondering if Crawford's skill and determination will be able to overcome Canelo's strength and stature, or if Alvarez would beat him up like Dr. Dre laying down a track. Let's establish the scene. Crawford, who had been unbeatable at 147 pounds, recently advanced to 154 pounds and defeated Israel Madrimov to win another title in a bout that wasn't the landslide that some had anticipated. It was close, rough, and demonstrated that as Bud moves up the weight scale, his supremacy may be put to the test more rigorously. He's now chasing Canelo at 168, which is a jump of 21 pounds and 2 weight classes, and many people are speculating that he's taking on more than he can handle. In the meantime, Canelo is preparing to face William Skull in Saudi Arabia on May 2nd in an attempt to maintain his unchallenged super middleweight title. However, this September matchup is taking center stage after today's altercation at the airport, in which Crawford grabbed Canelo by the collar and shoved him, and Canelo cannot ignore the storm that is building. This isn't your typical brawl. Everyone is contributing to this collision of styles, egos, and legacies, including podcasters and former champions. Crawford has stated unequivocally that he is not here to be kind. He has been outspoken for months, accusing Canelo of being overrated and saying he would expose him. Now, before the bell has even rung, he has demonstrated his aggressiveness. Canelo appeared prepared to retaliate at the airport, but the crowd intervened to stop it. Crawford's message was obvious to everyone who believed that this was only about belts or paychecks. This is war, and he isn't waiting for September to get started. How did we get here, then? Crawford has been dominating opponents, including Errol Spence Jr., in a 2023 masterpiece that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is the greatest welterweight. Spence didn't know what hit him after 3 knockdowns and a stoppage in the 9th round. Crawford fulfilled his vow to mess him up. In an attempt to quiet the "he's too small" critics, he is now bringing that same intensity to Canelo by gaining 185 pounds during training and sharing pictures of his new physique. In an effort to establish Crawford as the greatest of his generation, his coach, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, is fully committed to the struggle. Bud is locked in, according to Bomac. He has money, so this isn't about that. It has to do with legacy. Canelo is just one more barrier. But Canelo is no typical challenge. He has fought everyone from Floyd Mayweather to Dimitri Bivol and is a 4-division champion and pound-for-pound legend. He has strength, a high IQ, and a grin that could withstand a Louisville slugger. Despite claims by some critics, such as Hazem Rahman Jr., that he has been choosing lesser opponents, his recent victories over Jermall Charlo and Callum Smith demonstrate that he still has it. He is currently preoccupied with Skull, but he can't help but be distracted by Crawford's antics. The plot changes if he falters in May. Is Canelo stumbling, or is Crawford simply adept at entering his thoughts? The size controversy is at the forefront. A jump that has historically served as a cemetery for lesser boxers is Crawford's rise from 147 to 168. Consider Mikey Garcia versus Spence or Kell Brook versus Gennady Golovkin, both of whom were defeated. Crawford's camp, however, appears unfazed. Sean Porter, who has personally experienced Bud's strength, asserts that thinking, not size, is the key. Porter is adamant that Crawford is the most competitive person he knows. Canelo is excellent, but Bud could exhaust him in a dozen rounds. Since 2021, Shakur Stevenson has been arguing that Canelo struggled against John Ryder's left-handed style and that Crawford's southpaw posture was a nightmare for him. Stevenson claims that Canelo dislikes southpaws. In sparring, Bud has also injured heavyweights. Size isn't the problem. Joe Rogan agrees, rejecting the "too small" conversation. On his podcast, he claimed that Crawford was walking around at 185. He is no longer a skinny 140-pounder. It's 50-50. Paulie Malignaggi compares himself to Roberto Duran, who defeated Iran Barkley in 1989 after switching from lightweight to middleweight. Malignaggi contends that skill can outweigh size. Crawford is the more comprehensive combatant. Canelo's weight is his only advantage. Even the only person to defeat Canelo in recent memory, Dimitri Bivol, believes Bud has a future. Bivol asserts, it's about mindset. Crawford has a chance if he fights wisely and thinks he can win. However, not everyone has bought. Teddy Atlas examines both sides in his analysis on the Ring Magazine podcast. He observes that Crawford had some difficulty against Madrimov and that Canelo is too large. However, Madrimov was underappreciated. He was better than most people realize. Bud might be overpowered by Canelo's pressure and ring cutting. Atlas, however, changes the narrative. Crawford is more agile, cunning, and has more choices. There are many examples of small men defeating huge men throughout history, including as Manny Pacquiao lifting weights and Sugar Ray Leonard defeating Marvin Hagler. Crawford has a unique combination of timing, instincts, and the X factor in this David versus Goliath situation. What is the prediction, then? Because of Canelo's size and strength, most people imagine him stopping Crawford late because he is too large and powerful. As one admirer puts it, Canelo isn't going down. He would simply smile if you struck him with a bat. Crawford's staff, however, is adamant that he will outbox Alvarez using cunning and movement rather than strength. Bomac asserts, we're the best boxers out there. Is boxing us part of Canelo's strategy? Best of luck. Ramon Jr. concurs after witnessing Crawford outwit a Canelo who has grown complacent against weaker opponents. The conflict at the airport exacerbates the situation. Crawford is not merely talking about making Canelo seem bad, he is actually doing it. Why is he asking $150 million for me and $200 million for Benavidez if I'm easy work? Bud makes fun of it. I pose a danger to his legacy. Canelo remains silent, concentrating on Skull, but the shove today set off a chain reaction. He is now taking Crawford seriously, if he wasn't already. The stakes are extremely high on a personal level. Dominance is more important than victory. What about the hype? The biggest evenings in Mayweather may be eclipsed by this. There are rumors of a Netflix partnership with Turki Alashik, which would drive pay-per-view purchases to unprecedented heights. More than Mayweather-Pacquiao, according to one insider. It's all there, the drama, the stakes, the crossover appeal. While Canelo is defending his kingdom against a hungry rival who has already shaken him up, Crawford is risking everything by jumping weights in an attempt to achieve greatness. The story is told at training camp. Canelo is preparing for Skull with an eye toward September, while Crawford is sparring heavier opponents and getting used to 168-pound power. Bomac declares, Bud isn't here for a paycheck. He is here to demonstrate his superiority. Meanwhile, Canelo's group is aware that a mistake against Skull may throw the story off course. An opponent says, you need to look good for the next fight. Crawford is fast and awkward, not like Canelo is used to. Mentality could be the X factor. Doubters and personal grudges are the main sources of Crawford's resentment. Does Canelo still have that fire, despite being a legend? Canelo might be broken late by Bud's unrelenting drive, according to Porter. Bivol concurs, Crawford's body will follow his mental readiness. Stevenson has witnessed Bud's power translate up in sparring. Atlas cautions, however, that one Canelo punch changes everything. Size counts. The date is set for September 13, 2025, and it will be more than simply a fight, it will be a spectacle. Crawford is risking a historic upset by aiming for greatness. Canelo wants to establish his invincibility. Will Canelo's might bring Goliath back down, or will Bud's speed and intelligence bring him down? Bivol, Rogan, Stevenson, and Porter envision a way for Crawford. Canelo is preferred by Ramon, Atlas, and the size skeptics. Me. Canelo is a tank, but Crawford is exceptional, so I'm not sure. Canelo by late stoppage, in my opinion, but if Bud succeeds, it will go down in history. What do you think? 2 pound-for-pound kings, one night that will never be forgotten, is boxing at its most unadulterated.